These DIYs are absolutely stunning. They're neutral, they're beautiful, and I cannot wait to show you how I made them. For this DIY, I am going to start with this strip of drop cloth. It's about 5 inches thick. I cut it off of a very long piece of drop cloth that I had left. Then I'm going to take some pillow stuffing that I usually have on hand from a Walmart pillow. And I'm just going to start kind of eyeing out how long the strips that I need will have to be. So once I had the size that I needed, I'm going to use that one to cut out 5 more strips.
Let me feel your love again, 'cause I've been running round in circles screaming out your name. Take me to a different place.
Once I had the strips that I needed, now I'm just going to crisscross them as evenly as possible, but it doesn't have to be perfect. This is because we're going to create a very rustic, kind of very natural looking pumpkin. Once I have them crisscrossed, I'm going to take the pillow stuffing and I'm going to place it right in the middle. I actually ended up taking more than what I thought I needed, but it turned out perfect. So now I'm going to start wrapping the stuffing. Basically, I'm going to start with the strip that is highest. So the ones that is right on top. And I'm going to wrap it and then I'm going to keep moving forward. So then I'm going to go to the next strip that's in line. And then the next one. This is all making sure that I am holding it on top and then all the stuffing is also being covered with the strips. Kind of makes sense just to see it as I'm saying it. But I'm going to show you step by step so that way you know. And I'm actually going to show you in real time so that you know it doesn't take long and there's no special trick. You just basically have to hold and wrap. Now after everything is wrapped, it's time to just look around the pumpkin and make sure that everything is tightened, everything's pulled appropriately upwards. And then if you see any that are a little loose, don't worry, we're going to fix that here in a minute. I'm going to take this piece of drift stick. It's just a stick that I had on hand from previous DIYs. I'm going to place it right in the center. And then I'm going to take some jute twine and I'm just going to wrap it a couple times around the base, making sure that I do have the stick inside of that string as well. So I want to tighten not just the drop cloth, but the piece of stick as well. So I'm just going to tighten it with simply a simple knot. So you're going to see here that I'm going to start cutting the excess drop cloth from the top. Now here's the part where you want to go a little slowly. You don't want to cut too much. You want to cut slowly, knowing that you can always cut more if you need to. So in this case, I was going pretty slow, just kind of looking at the pumpkin, seeing, is that enough? Do I want to cut it more? And in my case, I wanted to leave it a little high. So I didn't cut too much. So here's the part where you're going to tighten anything that's left loose a little bit. So anything that's kind of bowed or you could just see that it has a little bit of a opening, just put a little bit of dot of hot glue on the top and then just pull the drop cloth over it and just hold it until it dries. And that way it just looks natural and pretty. Now I'm going to take some thicker jute twine and I'm just going to wrap a couple pieces around with simple knots. This is just to add a little bit more texture to the pumpkin.
Just the two of us and we can stay up all night, kissing under street lights, doing what we want to, doing what we need to.
I am now going to take this twine that I got at Dollar Tree and it's beautiful. It has orange and red berries and I think it's stunning. I'm just going to cut out a piece of about maybe 16 inches long. I'm going to wrap it around the stem, twist it, and then I'm going to curl the ends so that they look nicely put together. And then I'm just going to adjust them in the way that I think is going to look pretty. And that's it. Obviously, you can add whatever embellishments you want. You can add leaves, you can add flowers, you can add whatever you want to a pumpkin, obviously. However, I always tend to move towards the simple side, and I think just leaving it like this was absolutely stunning. I love the way this pumpkin turned out. I love that it's so natural looking, but yet very, very festive.
Staying up all night, everything is alright. Oh, I wanna be with you. Oh, I wanna be with you. Let me be that someone who can hold your hand. I don't even know if you can understand how you make me feel. I got you in my head. Oh, I wanna be with you. Oh, I wanna be with you. Let me
For the next DIY, it's going to be a very simple one. We're going to take just this jute twine and I'm going to thread it into this very thick needle. And then I'm going to start threading some beads, a combination of natural wood, brown, and white fabric beads. I'm just going to keep the pattern. Oh, and these little acorns I got at Hobby Lobby in a pack of like a whole bunch of them. And I just grabbed, I think it was 4 or 5 of the white ones. And I'm just going to start threading them in the pattern that I chose. In this case, I chose 3 natural, 1 brown, acorn, brown, white, 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 and then repeat, repeat. You can do whatever pattern you want, obviously, but this is just a pattern that I chose because I wanted to keep that natural wood tones and just natural neutral colors, but also have a little bit of that dark brown in there. So anyways, this is all I did. I just kept threading and kept the pattern as closely as possible. I'm going to drill holes on 2 pine cones that I got at Hobby Lobby. This came in a packet of a whole bunch of them. I'm just going to drill a hole starting from the bottom upwards and obviously be very careful. And it held up pretty good. It wasn't a thin hole, but still I was surprised that only one of the tiny little like leaves fell off. Then I threaded the jute twine with the same needle right through the hole and made a knot. And this is going to be my ends to the bead garland. Obviously, you have made you've probably seen a million bead garlands or bead garlands being made on videos, but I wanted to make my own with a little twist of a fall theme, and I think it turned out absolutely stunning. I love, love, love this one. For the next DIY, I'm going to take this piece of leftover paneling that I got at the hardware store. It was already this size. It was pretty long at one point, and it's been cut through projects here and there. And I'm going to cut 2 pieces equal size. I didn't really measure the size, but if I were to guess, I think they're about 9 inches long. And then I'm going to angle the corners at a 45-degree angle because we're going to make some tags. These tags are going to be really easy to make, and all you have to do is just make sure that you have either a piece of wood or paneling and cut them to whatever size you want and then angle the corners. I'm going to sand down the edges just to make sure there are no splinters because when you cut paneling, boy, do you get tons of splinters. I'm also going to drill a hole with the biggest drill bit that I have here available because I want it to look like a tag. I wish they were putting it a little bit bigger, but it's okay. It worked out fine. Now that everything's smooth, cut, and sanded, I am going to give everything just one pretty heavy coat of Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white. Once it was dry, I did sand him down pretty heavily for a bit of a distressed look, but I forgot to film that part. But it was no big deal. You've seen me sand before. Basically, I took my electric sander and I just went at it, focusing on the edges. Now, after it was sanded, you can see them right there on the bottom of the screen. I did cut out the word fall as well as a little pumpkin using my Cricut. And I'm just going to use them as stencil. And I am going to place the fall on the top tag and then the pumpkin on the bottom one. These tags are going to be stacked on top of each other. They're going to look really cute. Once I had the stencil on, I did stencil it using a makeup sponge as well as antiquing wax from Wayway. Friend, I'm so excited to let you know that DIY Beauty on Purpose YouTube channel now has memberships available. If you want to learn more about it, check it out. It's on my main YouTube page here. So just click there after you're done watching the video and read all about it. I love to connect with you there more. So check it out. I am now going to stack the tags as I want them to look. Before I glue anything, I am going to mark on the back where the tag is because that way I know where to place some hot glue. And that way I'm not over hot gluing or not hot gluing enough. So once I have the hot glue where I need it, I am going to place them right on top of each other and then let it dry. And then that way they're going to permanently have this look and not be dancing around. You don't have to hot glue them. You can just leave them as is and maybe they'll look a little bit more natural. But to me, I wanted to have them stacked permanently. I am going to separate one of the strands of this nautical rope from Dollar Tree. I taped one of the ends so it didn't fray on me. Once I had it long enough for what I wanted, I am going to thread it through the little holes of the tags all the way through. And then I'm just going to knot them. Just make a very simple knot. And then I'm going to fray all of the strands. And that way they're all separated and looking very natural. We're all done with the tags, guys, and this one is absolutely stunning. I love the simplicity of it. I love how just natural it looks, but yet festive. Again, I just think the festive, natural look of these DIYs are beautiful. All right, so we're out here in my garage and I'm gonna take this 1x4 that I got actually recently in the scrap wood area, and it came in this size. It was already like this and I bought it for 25 cents. And I'm gonna use it to create 4 pumpkins. Once I had them cut to the size that I wanted, they're all in different sizes. I did angle the corners as well, but a little bit less of a cut because I didn't want them to have a tag look. I wanted to have more of a pumpkin look, if this is even a pumpkin look. I sanded them down just a little bit to remove any splinters and just to smooth them down. I also painted them using Rust-Oleum chalk paint in the linen white, and I gave them also just one pretty heavy coat of the paint because we are going to distress them as well. And I just want it to be just very light and natural. I am using my palm sander once again and a 150 grit sandpaper, but really you could use a 180. It don't matter what you have. The palm sander is just an easy way to distress, remove some of that edging paint just in seconds, literally. Once I had it sanded down, I am going to drill a hole right on top of each pumpkin. If you follow me for a while, you know I love this technique to create pumpkins. I just drill a hole on the pumpkin, and then I did cut out 4 pieces of that driftwood that I used earlier, and I did angle cuts. That way the pumpkin stems are going to be angled instead of straight up. I also drilled a hole on them as well. Before I attach the stems to the pumpkins, I did decide to antique a little bit more the edges of the pumpkin just for a little bit more dimension and character. I'm using the same makeup sponge that I used to stencil earlier and the antiquing wax by Waverly. I love this antiquing wax. As a matter of fact, I'm almost out and I'm just gonna have to order more because Walmart doesn't carry Waverly products anymore, which I'm sad. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna take a skewer stick and I'm just gonna place it right in the hole after I place some hot glue right in it. And then I'm gonna cut and just leave a tiny little piece, maybe 1/4 of an inch. That way we can use that to then place the stem right over it. Same thing with the stems. We're just going to place some hot glue right inside the hole. And in this case, I want it to really come out of the stem, the hot glue, so that way it has excess glue, and then attach the stem. Look how cute they look angled like that. I've never done that before. I've always just cut them straight, but I think adding that angled cut just made them look a lot more natural. Again, not that these look like real pumpkins. I gotta laugh at myself. All right, so now that they are pretty complete, I'm going to stack them right on top of each other. I saw something similar at Hobby Lobby, a lot bigger and looked quite different, but the principle of these stacked wooden pumpkins was the same. So that's where I got my inspiration from. So I'm just gonna brad nail them right on top of each other, leaving the taller ones in the back and the shorter ones to the front. But you can stack them however you want if you're going to recreate something similar to this. So the brad nails are 1-inch brad nails. They worked out perfectly for the thickness of the pumpkins. Now I'm going to take some more of that wired berries vine, and I'm just going to cut maybe about 10-inch long, wrap it around the stem, and this time I'm going to use a pencil to curl them, and that way it just looks nice and pretty. I would also like to connect with you on Instagram. If you have an Instagram page, I am posting all the time behind the scenes look, just different content that you may not normally see on my videos here on YouTube. So check it out. I do have the link to my Instagram page down below. Check it out, and I hope you follow me there as well. And we are just about done with this last pumpkin here. I gotta tell you, I will not choose which one is my favorite because I am in love with every single one of them. I love the colors. I love the textures that they have, and I love how they look together in a vignette, and you're going to see that here in a minute. I just love it. So I'm not going to pick a favorite, but I would love to hear if you have a favorite or which one you like to recreate if you had the chance. But look how stunning this looks, and look how stunning it looks together. Ah, my heart. Anyways, this is it for today, my friend. Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate your time. If you are visiting for the first time, thank you. I hope you enjoy the video, and I hope you consider joining our YouTube family. If you are returning, thank you so much for coming back. And I'm going to have a playlist here with tons more of fall inspiration for you. Check it out. I'll see you later, and have a blessed day, my friend. Bye.